No, I have to go again.
Yeah, you have to go again.
Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're older, why don't you come over and go back in time with me? 90s babies nostalgia.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica, and this is 90s Babies Nostalgia, where two fully grown millennial women rewatch or sometimes watch for the first time iconic tween entertainment from the early 2000s.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by or affiliated with in any way any of the shows, channels, companies mentioned in this podcast. We just really like talking about TV. And today, the TV that we're talking about is
The Even
Stevens
Stevens
movie.
Can we say that it's TV? I guess it's a made-for-TV movie.
It is a DCOM, which, if you don't know, is a Disney Channel original movie, thus Disney Channel television. I think it counts as TV.
Yeah, because it never was in theaters. It was made for TV, right?
Yeah, for sure. The only one, okay, Lizzie was in theaters, whatever. We're still calling it TV.
Okay.
So, do you want to summarize or do you want me to? I guess I could start and you could. Did you take notes on the plot?
I did take notes on the plot.
I just wrote chaotic notes. So this is like
I also have chaotic notes as well.
It's like it's revolutionary. Amanda took notes. Like, I don't know what this is, what podcast this is.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't actually write down what happened. I just like wrote as I was watching. I was like, what is this? And who is this?
I think you can start summarizing the plot, and then if I have plug-in points, I can always hop in.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Before we get into talking about the movie, I want to apologize to any listeners if you hear children screaming or cars honking or party music. This is live recording. It's not live. This is recording when you don't have money for a studio. Now.
Yep. And we both live in busy cities, so noises are just unfortunately unavoidable.
Yeah. Especially when your neighbors decide to throw birthday parties all on the same day.
Yeah. Do you think they planned it?
No.
They're like, well, it's already going to be noisy, so we'll just throw a party too.
I just need to say, also because I don't want to get into the movie right now because there's an engine revving outside. What pisses me off the most is that the biggest party happening is right next door. As far as I know, they don't have children. The people across the street, they have children and they're noisy every weekend. And then there's another party happening like a house over from them with like 15 cars outside. But the one that's right here is taking up a whole parking lot, blasting music. They don't have kids. They invited all those kids over.
Oh. So here's the thing is, pre-pandemic, I loved to entertain, and there was always people in my house. I would not be caught dead inviting children into my house. It's an adult-only place. I feel like if you don't have kids, why are you choosing to let multiple children over to your house? I don't understand.
Children of all ages.
Yeah, nope. Count me out.
Anyway, into I'm ready. We've gotten that out of the way.
Even Stevens movie.
Yes. So we are set up automatically with the Stevens family attending Ren's junior high graduation. And the Stevens family, just like a short summation before we get into all of the details, shortly after her graduation, they are approached by like a door-to-door salesman type person who tells them that they've been selected for a free vacation to the remote island of Montanui?
Montanui?
Is it Montanui?
No, Montalino.
Montalino, which you haven't heard of because it's so small and remote and there's nothing new. And so they decide to go on this vacation and everything is going wrong. And you start to find out as the audience before the cast finds out as the characters, that they're actually on a new reality show called Family Feud, where they're trying to get all of the family members to fight each
No,
other.
Family Takeout.
Family
Family
Takeout, because Family
Takeout.
Feud is a real show that has
Yes.
also not sponsored me, and I don't know Steve Harvey or his really hot young daughter who's dating Michael B. Jordan, who's 13
Oh,
years older than him, but is also a gift from God. They're on a show called Family Takedown.
they are. Yes.
And the host is just trying to make their lives a living hell. And that's kind of the entire premise of the movie.
Yeah. And then they end up, that's most of the plot. Yes. I was going to say, and then they end up finding out through little clues here and there, plus Twitty and Tawny interfering, that they are on a reality TV show, and they end up working with the like competition reality TV show Gotcha, who's like the main competitor of this show, to kind of get back at Miles and his team for giving them this like living hell of a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, that's most of the plot. And then it ends in like classic Disney fashion with the song.
Oh my god, it does. I forgot about the
Because
song.
like we couldn't close out the movie without a song.
This this movie gave so much. It
Hmm.
like the very beginning, the first shot. Do you recall that first shot? I mean, you just watched it last night, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's like of a person, you can only really tell that it's like a thin black guy from behind, and he's on like computers doing a bunch of weird, creepy research. Like it's shot in this, it's like combining all of the weird stereotypes of the early 2000s because we've got that, and then we've got the survival island type thing going on in the reality TV. And like the beginning, I thought it was like Larry Beale or maybe the Jet Jackson kid was in this.
Oh.
Um, it was like it felt like a completely different movie. Like by the time that I'd seen that and then Ren's high school graduation and then they went to the island, I felt like I'd already watched 3 different movies start.
Yes, I agree with that. It did feel like they were fitting a lot in. I do want to say though, something both Amanda and I shared is we were feeling pretty even Stevens out by the time that we were watching this movie. But both of us had similar reactions where like once I started watching it, I was like, "Oh my god, this is everything. Like this is so good."
I've I
But
mean,
good in a nostalgic way. I don't like obviously if the movie came out now, it would not be good. You know?
I I mean, I've been the one this whole time that's like done with
Yeah,
even
yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
And so the movie was really just like an extra little hill we had to climb before we could get to Lizzie. But it was smooth sailing once you got to the top of the hill, you know?
Yeah.
Um, can we talk about their graduation and how it looks nicer than our high school graduation did?
I was gonna say this middle school, like going back to the theme that I think we brought up every single podcast episode, where is its budget? There's just no way they're convincing me that this is a public middle school. It's not. It can't be. They have an alma mater song that all of them just know and sing.
And like the speech from the valedictorian and like
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder what their donors are like.
Yeah, and they had like the nice gowns, like middle school graduation gowns are the ones that are like 87% plastic and they like reflect off the light all shiny. Like
Our high school graduation gowns were like that.
yeah,
They were
that's true.
like floating off of us. There was
Yeah.
nothing about that was fabric. And they're
Yeah.
so thin and itchy. But hers were
Yeah, and
like,
uncomfortable.
these ones were real.
Yeah, they were like college level.
and yellow,
Yeah.
which I just thought was a really nice touch. Can't
Yeah,
tell
I
that I
think it's
like
probably
yellow.
based off the school colors, but I guess we don't really know what Lawrence's school colors are.
Well, blue is traditional.
Oh, I just always assumed because I always went to schools that had blue in their color. So that's why I always assumed that mine was blue. But I think that it just depends on your school colors.
I think blue is traditional, but I also have always gone to schools with blue in the color. So maybe like we had the reverse reaction to it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, like, I remember going to a high school graduation and someone was wearing green. And I was like, oh, that must be the colors. Like,
I've never seen green.
yeah, like a forest green. Much better than the blue because the blue looks very plasticky and very reflective.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, Ren's looked nicer than my college one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's my thing is like when you watch like these reunion shows and stuff, they talk about like how their crew and set deck and stuff really had to like work with a lower budget. I'm sure with the movie they had maybe a higher budget than the TV show,
Mm-hmm.
but still that they ran on a fairly limited budget because Disney's main focus was Lizzie at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just shocked because I'm like, how? I don't think you guys ran on a limited budget. Like, everything looks pretty nice.
That's really one of my favorite things that I noted early on to watching this that happens with DCOMs that are based on the shows that we've been watching is that immediately the budget is clearly expanded from the show because the lighting and the color quality change and the plot is completely different, has nothing to do with what happened in the show, which pisses me off to some extent, but also is so funny because they're like, well, we got the budget now, so what are we gonna do? And it like
Yeah, well,
it tonally
especially like,
feels so different.
yeah. Yeah, it does feel very different. It's like, yeah, the main characters are the same, but yeah, they throw in like plot points where like Ren is breaking up with Gil, and I'm like, who the fuck is Gil and why do I care about
Oh
Gil?
my god, so I wrote that down at first. I was like, you cannot just introduce a character that none of us know, make us
Yep.
care, and they've supposedly been together for 3 months, even though this is happening right after the end of the series. And then I remembered, I do know who he is.
Oh, wait, really?
He's in an episode that you didn't have to watch,
Okay.
where in season 3 for spring break, they all go to the beach, and um Ren's like still kind of heartbroken about Donnie. Ruby and Monique immediately find hot guys to go hang out with. And Ren's just like doing her own thing. And then she's out in the water and she meets this guy that she thinks is a mermaid because he has like a swim fin on and he says that his dad is King Triton. Long story short, he's not a merman, but like Ren was totally down for it if he was. His dad owns a seafood shop, or something like that, and he's Gil. Like that was part of the thing was his name, and you never hear about him or see him again. And so then once I realized that I knew who he was, it pissed me off that he was in this because like you're telling me someone from Sacramento went to God knows what beach because it's like 2-3 hours inland, and that person also happened to live in Sacramento because they're still dating clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're talking about like going off. Oh, no, he's just going away for summer. That's why they
Yeah, he's
break up.
going to the East Coast for.
Hmm.
Also, he's in middle school and he's getting a paid camp counselor position in the
Doesn't
East
exist.
Coast.
Doesn't exist.
Not unless you're at least 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do like counselor and training programs, but you pay to do those.
Mm-hmm.
They don't pay you, and they definitely do not fly you out to the East Coast.
But talking about the budget though, and the way that
Yes.
things change tonally, I could not tell if that was the same house that we've seen the whole series or if that was a brand new house. What do you think?
Oh.
Like the outside, like the backyard, we start off, we see Louis has built this like crazy robotic
Yeah.
chair, and his whole plan is that he's going to spend the whole summer in this chair. But like that
Yes.
whole backyard and like the windows and everything, it looked way nicer to me.
Yeah, it's definitely like maybe they're trying to convince us it's the same house, but it's not the same shooting location.
No.
That backyard is huge.
Even the inside of the house looked different when they're
Yeah.
in there giving the presentation.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they brought in some of the same furniture
Mhm.
because when they're sitting down, like watching the presentation, I feel like the couches and stuff look similar. But yes, now that you're bringing it up, I did not notice that. But the layout of the house is very different.
Where do you guys think
Well,
we've
also, like
been?
they had enough budget to have someone build that chair.
Okay, but that chair was a mess.
Sure, yeah, it was a mess.
uh,
Also, I don't like, what does he call? He keeps referring to himself as Big Papa. Is
Papa.
that as
Big
Papa
Papa.
to Tawny? And I don't know why, but it gives me very uncomfortable. It makes me
I
uncomfortable.
detest it. And I hate that it comes full circle. There's a moment where Louis is sitting in his chair and he goes, "This one, you can come sit next to Big Papa." Because he has like a little thing that pops out, like a mini stool chair thing for Tawny to sit next to him. And it's gross. And then it happens at the end when they're all getting on a helicopter to leave the island. And he goes, "Right next to Big Papa."
Yeah, I don't like it.
The only part I like about it is when Tom goes, "I'll sit next to Big Papa."
Yeah, yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Ugh. This.
I do think the CGI, like, if we're gonna stay on budget for a little bit, I think the CGI in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
while it's still not good, it's much better than what we saw on the TV show because, like, the flying beach ball, I'm guessing is CGI that then explodes with spaghetti.
Oh, right. Louis explodes a beach ball full of spaghetti on
Like, it
Ren's
looked pretty
graduation.
realistic, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other CGI that stands out in my mind, which is not as good, but still, again, way better than the TV show, is the squirrel, like the angry squirrel, and we get it from behind and it's chasing them.
It's definitely not as good as the spaghetti ball, but yeah.
It's not as good as the spaghetti ball. No, I agree.
There are a few moments
It's a
where
cringe. It's one of the cringier moments where you're like, "Oh, really? They put this in there?" Like,
so the squirrel you see a lot, even though it's very clearly a petrified squirrel that they're just have on like a track.
yeah,
But it's supposedly robotically controlled, but like it's not moving at all.
no,
And then the other thing that made me cringe is still in the early part of the movie when um Lewis is like spying on something. I don't even remember what it was. I just know it's before they're on the island. He's spying on something and he very clearly has this like it's a Spy Kids toy that someone bought for him because it's the single eyeglass that like and there's like 5 lenses and that's straight up
okay.
something that Junie Cortez has in the second Spy Kids movie and like I'm pretty sure that I had this toy from like McDonald's or something and it looks so plastic on Lewis. It doesn't look like it does in Spy Kids where it's real.
Yeah, yeah.
I like Googled forever to see if they made that a toy or not, but I couldn't find it. But like
You
I
couldn't
feel like
find
it
it.
must be.
Yeah, yeah. That's too funny.
They really tried to fit every character that we cared about into this movie though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love how they like really came up with some crazy plot line to make sure that Beans was there. It's just like Ren volunteer or takes up a job because she's gonna get paid to babysit Beans, but really it turns out Beans is gonna live with them for 2, maybe 3 weeks because his parents are in Helsinki. Like what?
I really like the ambiguity where they weren't sure how long he'd be there, considering like you're not gonna unless they only bought one-way tickets, like you would know how long your flight to Finland is and or your trip there.
Yes. And like it's not like he's like 16 where it's like okay you can leave your kid for a couple weeks and it'll be fine but it's like you would have to pay for a babysitter in advance make sure there's like You have a full on nanny if you're leaving for 2 weeks. He's like 10.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he
Like it
just
just,
told his parents that, wow, his parents are aliens, so they don't care, but
I guess that's true.
yeah, they really fit in all of the characters because they did a thing where while they're on TV, everyone back home in Sacramento was watching them and laughing at them. So you get to see like Tugnut and Larry Beale. For some reason, they're all hanging out in this freaking pancake house that we haven't seen ever before. It's where Ren
No,
dump, where
did you
Gil
think
and
that
Ren
they
break
were
up.
trying to convince us that that was the Bacon Shack?
I didn't even put that together. The Bacon Shack was
I
bigger,
thought,
wasn't it?
yeah, and it looked complete. It's not the same place.
Yeah.
The only reason I thought that, because I'm like, oh, the Bacon Shack does show up multiple times in the series, so maybe they're trying to connect it, like, oh, they're all hanging out at the Bacon Shack, but it does not look the same.
Hmm. I couldn't tell what they were trying to do, and the fact that like it became such a prominent place where they were all there all the time was really
Yeah,
confusing to me.
yeah, I didn't understand it either.
Um, but like I got that they wanted to keep people in the movie, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, because you see Ruby and Monique watching it and making commentary. It's very cute. I do like that they kind of did the flashbacks. There's somewhere I'm like, probably didn't need to see them flashing to Principal Wexler and Coach Tugna as much. Like, I would have preferred if they really focused in on like Twitty, Tawny, Tom, Ruby, Monique.
Yeah, so we got Ruby and Monique watching together always from I think Ruby's bedroom.
Yep,
Um, we got Twitty and Tawny watching together from like Tawny's couch or something like that. We got Tugnut and Larry Beale watching together, well, not together, but both watching from the diner. Wexler,
yep,
I think, was at his office or maybe his home, but he was alone. And I don't
yep.
remember where Tom was. Actually, he wasn't
So
watching because he was on his boat.
Tom's not watching now that I say that. We don't get Tom watching, but Tom helps sail Twitty and Chani to the island where they're filming so they can go and spill it to the Stevens family that they're being filmed and that this isn't real.
Which is necessary because Twitty is the whole reason that they're on this show.
Yep.
Twitty was like, I don't know if he was approached about this or he thought it would be a fun thing to do, but he like spilled all the details about the Stevens family, which I think was already like a target because Eileen is in politics and stuff, but he gave them all the details.
Yeah, he gave them like their hot buttons, what pushed them, what makes them go crazy, so they could kind of play to all of those points.
Mm-hmm. I had so many questions early on. I feel like I had fewer questions the longer we went. I did take 2.5 pages of notes.
Oh my gosh, wow, I'm very impressed. I did not, like, I took a very long summary and then I wrote like a few notes here and there.
I took notes while I watched. So all of my notes are like, this doesn't even look like the same house. What college did Donnie get into? Who's Gil? You can't drop a 3-month relationship out of nowhere like that. They gave it. You dump me in a pancake house and you wonder if I'm upset?
Yeah.
The syrup not coming out is such a mood when she's like pouring it upside down and
Yes,
it won't come
yeah,
out.
I loved that. I also loved how she stood her ground because she was like, so you just want to do your own thing, be open this summer, and then like pursue our relationship like normal when you get back? And he's like, yes, I would love that. And she's like, no, and like totally stands her ground that she is like not down for that, which I appreciated.
Yes, I thought that was great. Uh I thought that, Ren, I sometimes, sorry, I was like really brain farting for a second. I really liked that whole scene. And then, like, early on, I was looking at her and thinking, like, Christy Carlson Romano is really like 20 right now,
Yeah.
filming all of this. Um,
Yeah.
I felt like she was starting to look older in the movie. And also, Tawny is like a whole new woman. Like,
Yeah.
she washed her hair and she stopped braiding it.
Yep. I would be curious. We should have looked into this. if it was the same hair and makeup artist that they kept for the movie. Because there
Mm.
were some inconsistencies in wardrobe and hair, and maybe they were trying to show that they were getting older, but also it didn't match the feel of the TV show. Maybe that was done on purpose because they did have a higher budget and that was very obvious. So they were trying to make it feel more elevated, but the hair and makeup didn't always translate to who the characters were on the show.
Yeah. I will say some of the writing felt a little weird with having so
Mhm.
many characters in. Like,
Yeah.
similarly to how this pancake house felt like out of place, there was this line Bean says early on where he says, "Okay, but I'm going to bust a gut." I was like, Beans would never say that.
Oh, I did not catch that. Yeah, that's weird.
Although one line I loved is when Eileen is really angry after the spaghetti and she goes, "This is a very happy day. You should all be happy." And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know how well you remember this movie, but that is that's the only thing I watched and I was like, I remember this line.
Oh, really?
I don't remember
No, I
anything
remembered
else.
more of like the obviously like everything about Ren and Mutai. I remember that relationship, and then I really remembered Lewis's chair because that like first scene of him like relaxing in the chair, I feel
Mhm.
like is a very like iconic scene to the movie.
Why is his chair outside? Why didn't he put it in the garage or in the house?
Maybe he wanted to get a tan, enjoy the summer. You know, it's a summer chair.
I guess. I just thought if it's this like fragile work of art where he's trying to be lazy. But maybe it's to like avoid when when you want to be inside. Maybe you don't because you were like a normal adjusted teenager, but I like wanted to be inside all the time in the summer and sometimes my parents would be like you should go outside and get some
Yeah.
sun.
Yeah, I think that like he wants to be outside, but he wants people to come to him, you know? So he's going to spend the summer in his chair. And
Mhm.
he's very adamant about that. The whole family thinks this vacation is a good idea, and Lewis really stands his ground that his only plans were to spend his summer in the chair, and he does not want to leave.
Yeah, and then later on when they're on the island, the first thing that goes wrong is he cannot resist sitting in a chair and then in this like it's like a palace where they're staying and then the whole thing collapses. Ignoring the fact that if you walked into a building that could collapse that easily, you would immediately notice that it was made out of cardboard and not some sacred palace. Just watching that felt like we really need like a word for being attracted to chairs because that's what Lewis is. And I don't
Oh,
know why that's
yeah.
his character now because it
Do
wasn't
you
ever
think that's
before.
like, yeah, I do feel that he is attracted to chairs. He enjoys a good chair. He can't resist a good chair.
Loves a sit.
He does love a sit. You know, which I can appreciate because I love a floor sit. Like sometimes I literally cannot resist sitting down on the floor. It's very difficult. And that's something that, like in COVID times, especially if I'm out at the grocery store waiting outside in line, I have to remind myself that, like, we're in a pandemic. It's not appropriate to sit down on this curb right now in the middle of this line. People will look at you. But sometimes it's like really hard urge to sit on the floor that I get. So I understand. He just needs to sit in a chair.
That was such a specific urge that you get that I don't know anyone else that does that or at least that wasn't broken out of them when they were a child.
Oh yeah, like when I'm really stressed at work, I need to just sit on the floor, and everyone I've work with just knows it. Like they'll come in and they'll just like have a normal conversation with me, and the whole time I'll be on the floor. And like new people will be like, "Is she okay?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, it's fine. She just needed to sit on the floor for a moment." But I love a good floor sit, and he just loves a good chair sit, which I feel is slightly more normal than a floor sit. So I can
Yeah.
get with it.
Um
Yeah.
kind of still on the line of oh, did you have something?
I was gonna say something because you briefly brought it up.
Mhm.
I think right the scene of the whole building collapsing. That is kind of because this is before we find out that they're on a reality TV show. I think this is kind of trying to give you let the audience in on the secret that it's a reality TV show,
Mhm.
because it's clearly a set that is breaking down. Like,
Mhm.
no palace would crumble the way this place. It was just set walls, like one by one falling.
With some excellent CGI at the end.
Yes, yes. So I think that's kind of the first time they hint at you that, like, this is these are all actors, this is a set, this is a TV show, because they haven't let the people watching fully in on the secret yet. You get little glimpses here and there.
Mhm. Yeah, at this point, I'm trying to see which happens first. Okay, so the palace falls. We've gotten one glimpse that it might be a show before that where Donnie sees someone that he thinks went to his high school, who's like
Yeah,
an extra on the show.
yeah.
You find out later. And then just after that, then you really like get to know that something's up because they have to apologize in the middle of this feast, and they're off in groups of 3, and the Mandolino salesman is like, all apologies must be made in groups of 3 because they want to go back for the rest of their family. And he says that so like it's clearly improv. And I just want to say, while we keep talking about these people, that whatever his name is, the Mandolina salesman, um is
The host, Miles.
Miles, who is the host of this show as well. So he's the one who
Yeah,
sold them on the vacation. He's the one who's being their tour guide through the island, and he's the host of the reality show.
yeah.
He is Tim Meadows, who is an SNL alum and the principal of Mean Girls.
That's where I knew him. I was like, this guy looks very familiar. What is he from?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's one of my notes is just this Mandolino salesman is the principal from Mean Girls. Lol. And then I
yeah.
looked up his name, which is Tim Meadows.
Got
And
it.
he did this like almost the same year. Like this movie came out in 2003 and Mean Girls came out in 2004, which I think is so funny because to me they're like in very
Oh,
different worlds and
completely different.
calibers.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
he does a great job.
He does a great job. Yes, I agree. He was a very good, they casted very well, because I feel like that position kind of, I don't know, it kind of runs the whole movie. It sets it up, and he has to be different in different settings. Though I do have to say, the fact that he was a host, I did not fully believe that, only because he also was like a producer and a casting director. Like, he was telling people what their plot lines were, and he was hiring and firing people. And I was like, I don't think that this is the job of a host. Like, he seems like he was multifaceted in the production.
I think that can be somewhat like common though. Like people can produce the shows that they're on. Like actors produce stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in reality TV it happens, like, you see it on The Amazing Race, you see it on Survivor, where those hosts have been there long enough, they are producers at this point as well, because they help influence the way that the seasons play out.
Mhm.
But when they first started, they really truly were just hosts. This is the first season of Family Takeout. Like, he wouldn't be all of these things, you know?
Mhm. Hillary Duff was going to be a producer of the Lizzie McGuire reboot, but that's a fact for another episode.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yep, yep. Like, we have to talk about Ren and Mutai.
okay, well that's the next note that I got to. Was
Okay.
okay, so Red and Mutai, budding
Yes.
romance. Cute,
Yes.
maybe. I don't know. It's weird. Um,
I also am just very uncomfortable with the fact that they constantly are like pitching Ren with people
mhm.
like she's 17 or 18, when it's like she just graduated middle school. So she's going into 10th grade because their middle school ends at ninth grade. So she's 15.
And Mutai is her third boyfriend, at least.
Yeah. And like, how old is Mutai? Because he has to be working age
Yeah.
to be on a set, which I guess you could be a working actor under the age of 18. They had some actors that were children. So, like, I guess he could be a teenager as well. I don't know, it just gave me weird vibes.
Yeah.
But
What were you gonna say?
um their romance kind of, I don't know, just what he says. I'm like, were these scripted lines he was told? Because they're very like perfect.
They were.
You know?
But also, okay, the first thing he does that, like, impresses her, we see a little flirty flirt when they first meet, and then he shows
Yeah.
up again, and he gives her a necklace of shells, and
Uh-huh.
she asks why, and he says, "It's every shell you walked on when you first arrived on the island." And my
Yep.
notes verbatim are, "No! Why doesn't she react to this? She just smiles. I would call him the fuck out. There's no way this is real, and or he should not have done this." But you
Yeah.
don't, like, either this is he's lying to you and he picked up random shells, or he really
Yeah.
is a stalker.
Yeah.
I don't think that's endearing. I think it's a massive red flag.
I agree that I don't think it's a deal breaker, but it is a red flag, and she should have questioned it. But she was like, "Oh," and like held it and was just like so appreciative. But it's same with like when he comes in while she's like watching on the sunset, and she's having like a sad girl moment, staring at the sunset, walking along the beach, and he comes in and he says some cheesy ass romantic lines, and I'm like, where is this coming from? And you don't even know her. And like what why does she react so positively to it? Like, I don't know.
It is really, like, touching on what you said. It's a shame because Ren has so much going for her. She's, like, good at everything except woodshop and cheerleading. Um, and she's
Yeah.
going on to high school soon, and she's just, like, she's got so much going for her, and they keep throwing her at boys, but also showing her repeatedly, like, mourning the end of a relationship. There was the majority of Ren in season, like, the second half of season 2 and season 3, was her getting over her relationship with Donnie, and then
No, Bobby.
Bobby, sorry, Donnie's her brother, that got really gross
Yeah.
for a second.
I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
Why they all got end in E's? And then this movie starts off with her breaking up with someone, and then she spends the whole movie being sad about that and also being into this other guy. I'm like, it's a
Yeah.
disservice to teenage girls everywhere to think that we just care about relationships.
Yes. I don't know if Disney is necessarily has moved away from that. I think that's a repeat thing that we're gonna see in all of the shows.
I feel like they shy away from relationships until they're ready for them, and then they only know how to do relationships.
Okay, sure.
Like, we'll
Sure.
see, but that's kind of mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I wish they showed us more. Like in, you're right. Especially in this movie, we really just get like Heartbreak Ren and New Crush Ren, and she has so much more to her character than that. And we
mhm.
don't really get a lot of it. We also get her like, I don't know, at the end there, she goes off the rails. And it is for the gotcha stunt, but like she loses her mind.
And it's really about a boy that she's
Yeah,
known for 2 days.
yeah, yeah.
I should have
It's
kept a timer. I didn't keep a Romeo and Juliet type timer going, but I really should have like, and at this point, they've been on the island for 22 hours.
Yeah, yeah, right? To track it. Because it was supposed to be a week vacation, but they don't make it that far into the week.
No, and
They
they're,
only,
like, starving and pissed off at each other, like, the second day.
yeah. Yeah, because I think the whole crashing down of everything happens on the first day.
It
It's
does,
crazy.
because they don't sleep anywhere.
No, they don't. Yeah.
I have the other note of, it's sad knowing they're messing with Ren's love life, but also never trust a man who acts romantic after just meeting you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
have a big thing about that. I hate catcalling. I hate when people try to talk to me and talk me up because, like, you don't know me. You just
Yeah.
like how I look.
Yeah. And it's not believable, or at least to me watching the movie, it's not believable like at the end where he's like, I meant everything I said. I wasn't acting, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bullshit. Yes, you were. It
Like,
was very obvious you were.
dead ass, you were feeding her some weird ass lines that someone fed to you.
Yes, that someone in your ear told you to say. Yeah, it's not believable.
And similarly, I liked that Ruby and Monique were having like another little back and forth about it while they were watching because Ruby was
Yes.
like, "This is so romantic," whereas Monique was like, "He's acting." Like there's a whole exchange where she's like, "Gee, maybe you forgot it isn't real," and Ruby's like, "It doesn't matter. It's romantic."
Yeah, yeah. And Monique's like trying to ground her. Yeah, it's pretty
I
good.
will give him credit though because he tries to tell her earlier on.
Yeah, he does. He tries to tell her, and then they break in
They have the
and
chief
like
come at
send out
him.
the chief guy to like keep him from spilling the beans.
Beans. Which is really the catalyst for the when Mutai gets taken off by the chief, that's really when like the third act of the movie starts and when the climax happens.
Yes, yeah. I think that's all I have to say about Ren and Mutai. The only other thing I would like to bring up is I really did not appreciate them constantly playing on the fact, which I get that Miles was given these weaknesses, and his job as the host was to play on these weaknesses to make them all behaved in uncontrollable ways that are good for TV. But how they constantly played on the fact that Steve was out of work and that Eileen was bringing home the money. I was like, "Oh, this is very early 2000s," because I don't think that is something they would include now.
I think they might as a
But like,
commentary because of like
why are
I
we
think
pushing that family dynamic of like a traditional household like that?
well, that's the thing is I think it's quite realistic that a lot of people still feel insecure about how much they make. I know I personally have always felt that if I were in a long-term relationship with a man, I would want to make the same amount or more because I don't ever want to feel like I'm contributing less in some way.
Mm,
I don't know.
mm.
But I feel like shows might have that but have it like be more pointed where the wife is like telling him to like open his mind and get over it. But I liked that Steve was still unemployed because it was the one piece of continuity that we got from the season finale.
That's true. That is true.
It's I was like, oh, okay, so this really is right after the season finale, like we
Yeah, yeah.
know.
It does kind of connect the dots there, but yeah, I don't know. I did not enjoy that.
I like the point where they're fighting uh when they're first starting to fight and it's an hour in, so I guess it's a little anyway. um and they go, you can sleep out in the rain tonight, we can and we will, ha ha, they like go back and forth, ha ha ha, the parents.
Yeah.
And I swear there's a point where Eileen turns around and she like I swear she's flipping him off, like you
Oh,
very quickly see
really?
her have her hand in the air.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
I need to know where this boat is that they I also need to know where this island is because I looked it up, and yes, there are islands like this possibly off the Southern California coast, but we do not have islands like this in Northern California. I looked it up. There's none. There like we
Mm,
have like in the bay, we have like Treasure Island and Alcatraz and those that are
yeah.
within the
Angel
bay where you
Island?
would see land from where you are, but they're like hours away, but not that many.
Yeah, and I guess they do say it's only like an hour and a half away, right?
I want to know where Tom's boat is docked.
Yeah. How are they able to get to the island? That is your question. Easily.
I want to
Well,
know
they kind of crash upon shore, but like fairly easily.
I want to know where the island is and I want to know where Tom's boat is docked, and I guess my
Yeah.
biggest question is where do these writers think that Sacramento is?
Yeah. Hmm. Because the closest coast from Sacramento
Is like the
is like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because Oh, I did not connect that, but yeah. There's no way they could be on an island that's as removed as it looks in the shooting location and only be an hour and a half from Sacramento. There has to be some sort of maybe 3 hours, 4 hours from Sacramento.
Even them just going to Tom's boat, like it's like
Yeah, I
around the
guess that's
corner.
true because they just casually were like, let's visit Tom. He'll do us a favor.
And Tom's just been on his boat this whole time. But like, where is Tom's boat? Like, where
Yeah,
is this dock that it could so easily move out into the open sea? Because I get if it's like docked at a marina, like a lake or something,
yeah,
but then he has to get it out to the sea.
yeah.
I just
Well, and like some
geography.
marinas connect to the ocean. So, like the marina that I work at, it's connected to the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, but
So it
then
wouldn't be that hard to get onto the ocean. But if his boat is docked at a marina that is connected to the ocean, it is at minimum an hour and a half from Sacramento, where his boat is docked. And how has he been there all summer? He lives on his boat. It didn't look like that big of a boat to live on. It didn't have no kitchen. It didn't have an underneath. Not that we saw.
yeah, but I feel like Tom can do anything.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I have one note and I have no idea what this is.
Okay.
All caps, two
Okay.
words.
Uh-huh.
Lawrence Honey Toast.
I don't know. I don't know. And I
I
watched
have
it
no
yesterday and I don't
idea
know.
what that Lawrence Honey
I have
Toast.
no idea.
The only thing I can maybe think of. Wait, no. I was gonna say maybe it had something to do with the diner because there's this cute little thing. And no, it's not. I think it has something to do with Tom's boat. It's related, maybe. I don't know. But I will say his boat is called the SS Doris. And I needed
Oh,
that
I
to be
didn't know
noted.
that. That's kind of cute, but also creepy. Why does he love his mom so much?
But that's like not a bad
That is
name
a
for a
red
boat.
flag.
Like,
That's a red flag.
but like, I feel like it's better than our mom's names for a boat, you know? Like the SS Joni, like what is that?
I feel like SS Julie is the worst.
I feel like Julie's better than Joni, but both of them are way worse than Doris.
Yeah, the SS Doris actually sounds pretty good. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. At least that's another thing they keep consistent. They run with the Tom and his mom thing the entire series and throughout the movie. They find ways to throw it in there.
I have some fun lines that I threw around, like
Okay.
when there is, I mean, I've mentioned a few of them already that are very early in. Um,
Yeah.
there's a point where they're praying at the feast and the chief, who I'm sure I know from somewhere, the actor looked really familiar. He goes, Oprah. And
Yeah.
they go, Oprah? It's a coincidence.
It's a
Um,
coincidence.
I like when Tom's on the boat and he goes, oh, he says something like really formal and they're like, what? And he goes, oh, excuse me. What's up? um, there's so Twitty and Tawny both go to the island with Tom, but Tom is like he leaves them, and Twitty gets on the island and he's like found immediately by the people, and they tell him the producer Miles says to put them in a crate or put him in a crate him or something. I don't know. And they put him in a trailer, and he said, "Crate me. This is a trailer." I'm like, why are you complaining, Twitty? A crate would be a million times
Times
worse.
worse. Yeah. Like you have all the amenities you need in a trailer.
Oh, there's a line, not fun, but there's a line where Ren is yelling at Louis that he ruined her life the day he was born. And you know what? I felt that. That shit was
Yep.
too real. I've been
Yep.
told that before.
Yep. I think that Though that is a very, I don't know, a line that I think, I don't know, it's a very traumatic line, but it's also very realistic to a lot of sibling relationships.
That's the thing, like, it hit me in a way that I was like, "I don't know that a DCOM should be hitting me in this way," like,
Yeah.
I've suppressed things for a reason, guys. Um,
Yeah.
some other sorry, did you have more?
No, I don't. I have a hair.
I enjoyed Tugnut soaking up his sweat with a pancake when he's really stressed about something.
Oh, yeah.
I liked when they were all doing their interviews for the Gotcha show, and you see their names and, like, their title underneath, and it's Alan Twitty, traitor, Tawny Dean, activist. And then there's this weird point at the end where, like, because Ren almost kills Louis, but it's all like to get the guy and show that they knew what was going on. And
Yeah.
the dad is like, "Get a shot of those lovable scamps. Aren't they adorable?" To It's about Ren and Louis, and I'm like, never in my life did I think that either of their parents would call them lovable scamps because their
Yeah.
parents are just as fed up with their antics as everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, but they do love them. And I think I like that they split off for the movie into like two separate groups because you do kind of see the parent um child relationship more in the movie than I think you get in the show. Because in the show, you just get, a minute here, a scene there. But this is like a consistent thing throughout the movie is like Eileen's relationship because she's with Donnie and Lewis, and then Steve is with Ren and Beans.
Um, Beans felt like a character of a character because he said the weirdest shit and he showed up with a bacon-filled
Suitcase.
suitcase and wants
Yes.
to go skinny dipping. The writers did not know what to do with him anymore, but they kept him in.
Yep.
Um, the green screen of Donnie at college is so bad, which just reiterates the fact that I'm convinced that he didn't get into a college.
Or like they never speak of like, oh, he's on a full ride football scholarship or something, which then I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm. But
But
they
they
say
never
he got
talk
into
about like him going to college on because of sports, which would make more sense given his character. Him just going off to college is not that realistic.
No. It's not at all, and then it's just him green screened on, like, grainy photos of college fields, and that's
Yeah.
it. Um, and then I have 2 other notes as I've just been running through all of the things I thought were funny points. Um, what we missed really the most iconic moment of Ren and Mutai. Like, the most jaw-dropping, could not get over this at the end. His name is, like, Chris or something. Oh, Jason.
Jason.
Jason. They have a heart to heart. He says he meant it all. They
Yeah.
kiss. Right before all of that, Lewis
Uh-huh.
Lewis is the one who hooked them up.
Yep.
Lewis is the one that's like, Jason's a nice guy. He's over here. He's having a heart to heart with Ren. She gets lots of heart to hearts all at once.
Yep.
And as Jason is approaching, Lewis just flips off backwards from a very short seawall. Like, they're
Wait,
sitting on
what?
this very short rock wall, sitting on it, talking, and he just fucking plants backwards.
I do not recall that happening at all.
It was so funny. I was like, where did he go? And also, this wall looks like it's like maybe a foot tall. Like,
Yeah. Like he would have injured himself if he jumped off of it
and
backwards.
then did he just like roll away? Like,
Oh my god, I did not notice that.
um,
I was going to say something we didn't know, but we get two Ren kisses because we get Ren and Mutai and Ren and Jason, where I feel like everything else, like if they show her having a romantic thing, it's like one kiss, but we get two in the movie.
yeah, I think Bobby only got one, maybe,
Yeah.
and he was around
Yeah.
for episodes.
Yeah.
Um, the song is disgusting.
Yep.
And then my other note that's really like, okay, I watched this movie for this podcast, but I watched this movie hoping to find this point that I had read about online, which is that in the movie, Larry Beale says or heavily implies or something that he has feelings for Ren. Now, where that was in the movie, I do not know. There was a small
No, that was
point.
not in the movie. Not in the movie I watched.
There was a point where she kisses Mutai and he like rolls his eyes and walks away. But that is not confessed. That's just like what 13-year-old
Yeah.
boys do when they see people kissing, especially people they
Yeah.
know. Like, did
Yeah.
I miss it? Like,
No.
did I blink and it, like, when did it
No, this
happen?
sounds like some crazy fandom thing that like people shipped them together because they were villains, and so then they, I don't know, took it upon themselves to make up some sort of moment that does not exist.
I really am so disappointed though, because I read that when I was reading about his character, that happened. And
Yeah.
I was ready for it because I think that's kind of cute. And then nothing of the sort happened.
Mm-mm. No.
And that's really the
See, I don't know if I would have found it cute. I think I would have been like, this is unrealistic.
Yeah, I guess we don't need to perpetuate the stereotype that just because boys and girls fight, that means they like each other.
Yeah.
But I always thought
We
they had
don't.
some chemistry.
Sure, I agree. They do have on-screen chemistry and their characters have chemistry. So I guess it's not, I don't know, out of the box, but yeah, I don't think we need to ship them together.
Out of the box. Out of the box. Did you watch that growing up?
Oh my god, yeah, I fucking loved that show.
I feel like you're the only person I've ever sang that song to and you actually knew what it was. And
Oh
I sing
yeah.
that song a lot.
How does don't they have a goodbye song? It's
Goodbye
time.
for now to you,
Yeah.
my friend. It's time to go. I hope we meet again.
Meet again. Yeah, I
It's
love
something
that.
like that,
They
and I
just did
don't.
like crafts and shit. It was the
Can we
best.
talk about where in my brain that's been living for the last 15 plus years?
Yeah. Yeah, and what information could be filled there that would be more useful to you?
It's really like 20 years. Like, wow.
Yeah, yep.
Anyway, I think that's it overall. It felt like a pretty quick movie. It's not my favorite of the DCOMs, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I
I think
enjoyed
for
it.
the first DCOM that gets a movie, or
Mhm.
first Disney TV show that gets a movie,
Mhm.
it's really well done. The budget is there. It's a really fun watch. It's only like an hour and 34 minutes, I think is what it was.
Mhm.
So it's pretty short. But yeah, I don't think it's my favorite. I can think of ones in the future, including the next one, which I enjoy more and I have watched more frequently.
This is me in my head with Hey Now playing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a show. It was kind of it was still fun to watch.
It was fun to watch. I definitely think if you're going to go back, if you're listening to us and it's inspired you to go on Disney Plus and watch some Even Stevens, watch the third season, watch the movie. Don't really waste your time with the first season. Right?
That was so harsh and decisive. I'm ready to move on if you are.
Yeah. So I found some BuzzFeed quizzes. So I'm going to read the titles to Amanda and she can pick one. And we're going to take one of these Even Stevens BuzzFeed quiz to close off our Even Stevens chapter. So your options are build your perfect school day and we'll reveal which two Even Steven characters perfectly match your personality.
Wait, two?
Two.
Oh, that was the longest title. Okay.
Or this one's a little shorter. Build a walking taco and we'll tell you which Even Stevens kid you are.
I
What?
have to build a walking taco because I don't know what that is.
You don't know what a walking taco is?
Is it like a walkie-talkie shaped like a taco?
No. A walking taco, well, at least what I grew up with it being, is a Fritos bag. You open up the bag of Fritos, you crunch the chips a little bit, then you put all the taco stuff, like the taco meat and the beans and the sour cream and the cheese, in the bag, and then you just eat it.
I knew people who did that at school. I never did that. But that
We would have like
sounds.
walking taco night as a family. Like if my mom was feeling lazy and wanted to make like, I'm not going to say lazy, she still cooked, but like, she needed something shorter because she had a busy day at work or something. We would have walking taco night, like, I don't know, not a lot, but like a few times a year.
That sounds amazing.
It's really delicious.
Okay, well, we're doing
Okay,
that
so it's
one.
telling you to pick a base first, which would be
Wait,
Tostitos.
am I doing it or do we want to do it together?
Or we can do it together. So we have to pick a base. So we can pick
Wait,
Tostitos, like corn chips. What? Do you want to see it?
when I said together, I meant like separately. Like we each choose our
Oh,
own and find out which characters we are.
both of us are? Okay, hold on. So the first thing is we pick a base, and our options are Tostitos, Doritos, or Fritos. I'm going Fritos because that's how I grew up eating it.
I know everyone did it as Fritos, but I feel like I'm going in blind. I've never done this before. I'm picking Doritos because they're just the best chip. I, I, it's, there's no going back. I clicked it.
Great. Pick a protein. These are all shredded proteins that they have, and it's either pork, chicken, or beef. I'm going chicken. I wish they had like a veggie option, but that's okay.
I wish these were more appetizing. I like shredded meats, but these all look way too dry. Um, I like pork, but I feel like with the Doritos, beef will go better. So beef.
Okay. Pick a veggie, and they have bell peppers, jalapenos, or like shredded
Shredded.
lettuce, but it looks like the worst, like shredded iceberg cabbage thing I've ever seen. I'm
Yeah,
going jalapenos.
it gives a new meaning to iceberg. I'm gonna go jalapenos
Yeah.
too. Is that what you did?
Yep, that's what I did. Then pick a salsa, and this is clearly a brand deal or something because I'm leaning into how they're getting paid to do this. I'm not reading off the brand name. They are all chunky salsas, mild, medium, or hot. I'm going medium.
Yeah, well, my heart says medium, but we already got the jalapenos in there, so maybe I'll go mild.
Oh, there you go.
Just balance it out.
Yeah. I'm normally not a mild salsa fan.
I'm not either, but I've already clicked it, so.
Great. Pick one more topping, which this is like the hardest one: guacamole, sour cream, or shredded cheese. Like, I want all of
I
those toppings.
literally want all of those.
I guess I'm gonna go shredded cheese.
Oh, I feel like
It told me who I am.
maybe guac?
Okay.
I want
Yeah.
cheese.
If I didn't go shredded cheese, I would have went guac.
Okay. Oh no.
Okay. Would you like to go first, or am I
No,
going
who
first?
are you?
Okay, I'm going first. I got Donnie Stevens. It says I'm a bit of a jock, and that some might say I'm not the brightest bulb, but that my muscles and adorable smile will get me far in life. I don't agree with any of that, but I also understand how it brought me to Donnie, and I really think it's because I picked chicken.
I would like to point out you are beautiful and brilliant and hardworking and don't relate to not being intelligent. However, you were running half marathons most of your life.
Yeah,
So to
yeah,
not
I
at least
am pretty
identify.
athletic. I'm not going to argue that. I am pretty athletic, and I'm like 80% muscle, and that is just how my body build will always be.
Yeah, so there's like a little bit of truth in there.
Yes, there is a little bit of truth.
Oh.
But I would say I'm also a bright bulb. What did you get?
I got Louis. I hate this so much.
Maybe it picks up your younger sibling energy.
It says you're the goofball of the bunch. Some might describe you as immature, but your adorable antics make you even more lovable. And it has the picture of him and Twitty, and Lewis is like got drumsticks with underwear on top of them and his teeth out, and he's like, I feel attacked, personally, professionally, emotionally.
Again, it's like not wrong though.
I'm not a goofball.
No, but you do funny things.
If by funny you mean weird.
Sure. But I can think of like moments that you have made me smile in our friendship that I'm like, oh my God, only Amanda would do this. The one that pops into my mind right now is when, as a gift, you got me like a little, like those little strings that have like little clips and you can hang them up in like your dorm room or your bedroom and like put photos into it. But then also you included a full on photo shoot of selfies of yourself, which I then did definitely hang up.
Wait, did you actually?
Yeah, I would have like more photos. Obviously, I added in my own photos, but I always kept one or two that you provided me because it just brought me so much joy that you did that. I feel like it's kind of goofbally.
I'm just a narcissist, is what. And I didn't even remember. I like now that you've said it, I remember that, but I did not. I think I blocked
Yeah,
that
I'm
out.
pretty sure I still have the photos in a memory box. Like I kept them all.
I appreciate you. I
Yeah, I
thought,
appreciate you too.
if we're being honest, we're both Wrens.
Yeah, the one that we did not get is the one that we are both closer to.
Mhm. But that's okay. That's a fun way to end Even Stevens, and thank goodness it is ending.
Yep. Join us next episode as we kick off Lizzie McGuire. Um, if you want to give us a follow, if you prefer a video format, you can watch us on YouTube at 90s Babies Nostalgia. Spell out the word 90s. Same for Instagram. And then Twitter, we're 90s_babies. And if you want to send us a DM with your thoughts on the Even Stevens movie, or any of your thoughts about the characters during the movie, the budget, go ahead and send us a voice memo or just a DM on Twitter or Instagram, and we may shout you out on a future episode.
And thank you to Patrick Dunavit for our music and Don Wheeler for our artwork, both of which are incredible and have helped us really get in the mindset of this little kooky podcast project that we've started.
Yeah, it's made it extra fun.
I hope you all are safe, vaccinated, and happy. And
Yep.
talk to you soon.
Yeah, and see you guys soon as we kick off Lizzie McGuire. All right.
Bye.
90s babies nostalgia.
I feel like that was good.
I felt like it was the most chaotic thing we've ever recorded, but like, that's fine.